And we are on to track 2, session 3 with Dr. Adele O'Connor, who is from the Advanced Marine Technology, and she's the national coordinator, and I will let her introduce herself. So let's give her a warm welcoming forward.
Thank you, everyone, and I'm absolutely to be delighted here today in San Diego. I've been here since Sunday, and the weather is absolutely amazing compared to what we have at home at the moment. So I'd love to be staying on for a few more days. Unfortunately, we head back this evening, but it's been a fabulous few days. I'm from the Irish Marine Institute, and I'm just going to give you an overview, I guess, of the research system in Ireland and how that operates and how you can collaborate with the research sector in Ireland. It's mainly from an industry perspective as well, looking at how industries can link in with Irish researchers and how that model works. So the Marine Institute, we're the national agency or the government agency in Ireland that's responsible for marine research, technology development and innovation. So we seek to assess and realise the economic potential of Ireland's marine resources, promote industry through strategic funding programmes and environmental assessment, and very importantly, safeguard our marine assets and protect our marine environment. It's a really important role of ours. So just in terms of the areas that we have specific services and that we operate in, so we provide fisheries and ecosystem advisory to the government, so looking at policy around fisheries and aquaculture. So we do a lot of work around marine environment, so marine monitoring programs, and aquaculture and food safety. So we would provide policy advice to government on aquaculture and especially monitor shellfish in terms of their safety for human consumption. We have an ocean science and information system service where we operate the National Marine Data Centre, and we have research vessels that go out to sea, and we operate monitoring infrastructure off the Irish coast. We also have a service around renewable energy. So the Marine Institute works with one of our sister agencies, the Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland, to promote Ireland as a destination for offshore renewables. And we operate the seabed mapping programme as well, so it's the largest civilian seabed mapping programme in the world, and we partner again with some of our sister agencies around that. We have also an office that supports shipping and shipping services and develops clusters, which is a thematic concept of the last few days, and centres of excellence in marine technology, so bringing industry, researchers and government agencies together to develop that sector. So this is what we call, or part of this is the real map of Ireland, and this is Ireland's exclusive economic zone. So I guess our sea area is 10 times the size of our land mass. So 90% of Ireland is actually underwater. And we're one of the largest states in the EU when you look at our exclusive economic zone right out onto the continental shelf. We have 7,500 kilometres of coastline, and this is a valuable resource. So it's has some of the most spectacular landscapes, has some of the most productive ecosystems. It's a source of renewable energy, and really it's an asset that I guess we haven't really set about leveraging in a sustainable way until about 2012, when the government launched an integrated marine plan for Ireland, which looked about supporting the economic development but also the protection of this area. So in terms of the Marine Institute as a government agency, we have a number of different roles in terms of research. So we provide advice to government on research policy and at an European Union perspective. We also carry out research ourselves. So we have teams within the Marine Institute that are partners in European projects and that also carry out their own individual research projects. We also have a mandate to catalyse research, so to support the research and innovation community to do marine-related research. So that may be through providing access to research infrastructures, and providing supports for people to access Horizon 2020, so the European Union Research and Innovation Programme, and through funding research. So over the last number of years, we have operated large-scale funding programs right down to funding for PhDs and research students. And we also operate a bursars program, so we allow students to come into the Marine Institute on 8-week placements during the summer, and the students can apply for that and get real expertise of working in the marine environment. And we support research then by providing access to marine data and collecting marine data through the for example, the seabed mapping programme. The type of facilities and equipment that we have, so we operate 2 research vessels, the Celtic Explorer, which is 65 metres in length, and the Celtic Voyager, which is 32 metres, and a deep water remotely operated vehicle. So the Celtic Explorer actually operates across the Atlantic, and it has done some cod surveys off the coast of Newfoundland, and it has been involved in mapping the Atlantic along with partners from NOAA here in the US, from Canada, and from other member states in Europe. So there's a whole initiative now around mapping the Atlantic Ocean so we can better understand the Atlantic and protect the Atlantic Ocean. We also operate a number of sensor networks around the coast, the National Data Buoy Network, the Tide Gauge Network, and we have a cabled observatory out here in Galway Bay that supports the test and development of new devices and ocean energy. We also have a smart catchment up here off the coast of Mayo, or up in Mayo, where we do a lot of fisheries research. And the Ocean Energy Test Site here in Galway, and we also have a Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland around a full-scale site up the northwest of Mayo. We also have a national oceanographic equipment pool that other researchers in Ireland can access to do research. So this is one of the infrastructures. It's called Smart Bay. It's so the Marine Institute is just based just around here, and this is a quarter-scale ocean energy test site and also a marine technology test site. So researchers can develop research projects using the infrastructure, and industry can come in and use the test site as well. And I guess the key thing is we have the cabled observatory here, so 4-kilometre cable where you can plug sensors in under the water. It's a high-definition video camera which shows a lot of the fish around a 20-metre water depth. So I'm based in our Dublin office, so it's sometimes like a virtual fish tank. And then you have the other infrastructure, so HF radars, broadband across the bay, and you have numerical models for monitoring and predicting the sea state and wave and currents in the bay. So there's lots of data that can be gathered in the bay that can help to support research. We're also a partner in a number of European, so large-scale EU infrastructure and observation projects. So there's a variety of them there, from fixed ocean observation infrastructure right to deep sea ocean observation infrastructure, a project on Argo floats that coordinates the monitoring of various water column data, fisheries research. We're part of the Eurofleets project, which coordinates access to research vessels across Europe, and Atlantos, which is an ocean observation consortium that also contains partners from the United States and Canada. So we're, I guess, actively involved in EU and transatlantic research. So I guess in terms of funding and areas that we funded in the past, so Sea Change was our marine research and innovation strategy from 2007 to 2013. It was a national government strategy the Marine Institute had to support, and it looked at a number of measures across research that we needed to support in order to transform our marine economy. So there was an industry research measure, so we have research programs in shipping, seafood processing, finfish and shellfish aquaculture, fisheries, seaweed, offshore oil and gas. And then a discovery was looking at new areas where Ireland had existing expertise that we could translate into the marine. So looking at biotechnology, marine technology, functional foods, renewable energy, And then a policy support measure. So, research support around monitoring our marine environment, socioeconomic research, climate change, and knowledge and information management. So, over the course of that period, there was a number of centres of excellence funded in Ireland that would support researchers and would build capacity in Ireland in some of these areas, so sensors, communications, biodiscovery, ecosystems, approach to fisheries management, and other areas more on the geosciences side, so biogeosciences, and then on energy, so renewable energy. So Ireland really looked during that point to build up capacity in these research areas. And through this type of investment, we're drawing down a lot more money now in European funding programs. So Horizon 2020 is the research and innovation program from the European Union, and we are securing a lot more in those calls than we would have been previously. So we're taking in the latest Blue growth calls, we've been getting about 5% of the available budget, which is a lot considering our average would be about 2%, or just to retour, what we really should be taking down would be about 2%. So this investment, I guess, is paying off, and it's giving access to Irish researchers to international research projects, which is really, really important. So we've got new national research and innovation priorities that were launched in 2012, and we have a number of research centres now that have been established across these areas. And you might look at that and say, okay, there's no marine there, but these are cross-cutting areas that tap into marine as well in the ocean research. So for example, ICT, so manufacturing of materials, health and medical, food, energy, services, and business processes. So for example, one particular centre that was established was a centre in marine and renewable energy. So a centre of excellence that joins up multiple universities in Ireland. So you're gathering the best of the expertise, you're developing PhD students, you're providing a pipeline of students from secondary school to university, and allowing students access into some of the best expertise and knowledge. And this is our latest national strategy for science, technology and innovation, and it really has a number of priorities that builds on previous research investments to ensure that Ireland is a global innovation leader. So this strategy again supports Ireland's investment in research and development, and looks at promoting excellent research, making sure that we have a strong, innovative and internationally competitive enterprise base, that we're developing talent, so we're now school of talent, and that we have a joined up innovation ecosystem, so bringing researchers, industry, government and people together in order to deliver more impact, and also making sure that we have an internationally competitive research system. So these are the types of agencies that fund research and innovation in Ireland that help to deliver on that plan. So, for example, Science Foundation Ireland, I think it might be very like the NSF here in the United States. Enterprise, so that funds STEM-related research, so science, technology, engineering and mathematics-related research. Enterprise Ireland would fund companies or would fund researchers that want to commercialise research that they've developed. And ID Ireland would provide funding supports to multinational companies in Ireland that want to develop their expertise in a particular area. And these funding agencies provide supports right along the spectrum of technology readiness levels. So from basic research to applied, to prototypes, large-scale prototypes, demonstrations, until full-scale commercial application. So I guess the important thing is that, depending on what your need is, there's access points there into the research ecosystem, and it also allows researchers to access expertise in industry. And through the investment from our development agencies, so for example, Science Foundation Ireland funds science and STEM-related research, Enterprise Ireland supports Indigenous companies in Ireland, and then IDA Ireland supports international companies. So these are the areas across Ireland that we've developed centres of excellence, so in renewable energy, robotics, platforms, chemical science, geospatial technology, microelectronics, nanotechnology, communications, mechatronics and modeling, data science. So this is a big area for us. Big data analytics and data science and software, Internet of Things, which is a big buzzword at the moment, sensors. So we have these centres of excellence that join up the various people across institutions in Ireland and then provide an access point for industry who want to access that type of expertise. So depending on what your need is, there's, if you want to build your in-company RDI capacity or you want to access research skills for your company, there's lots of different mechanisms to do that depending on what your need is. If you want to collaborate on research projects, there's centres that are more industry driven, and then there's centres that do basic research that can have both impact on the economy but also focus on excellent science. So because it can be difficult for researchers or for industry that want to understand what the what's available. So for example, what if I want a particular expertise, I want to join a particular research team, or I'm a company that wants, I don't have this particular expertise in my company, but I want to access it. Or you're a researcher coming out of university that wants to do a PhD and wants to go to the best place that you can to pursue a particular career, then Knowledge Transfer Ireland is the body in Ireland that provides an access point into all those different centres. So you can find particular research experts, so it has databases of research experts. You can find a particular centre that you're looking for who to talk to, who's doing licensing opportunities around technology that they're developing, what intellectual property is available, how can I collaborate, what type of research is happening. So it looks at funding, what funding is available. If I want to be a researcher, if I want to a company and I want to access into that. So this is kind of a window into those types of opportunities that are available. So it's just Knowledge Transfer Ireland, and you can have a look at the different expertise that's available and allows you to browse that. So Harnessing Our Ocean Wealth is the integrated marine plan for Ireland. So it specifically focuses on developing marine-related research and activities and economic development, and also protecting the environment and improving people's engagement with the sea. And as part of Harnessing Our Ocean Wealth, we're now putting together our new marine research and innovation strategy, which is complementary to the government's national strategy around research prioritisation and science, technology and innovation. So these are the types of areas that we're looking at for the new marine research and innovation strategy. So for example, how we further develop our capacity in areas that are relevant to our economy, areas that are relevant to support maintaining healthy ecosystems, and areas that are relevant to engaging with the sea. So I'm not going to go through all of those, but that gives you a snapshot of how we kind of categorise those and how we look at the types of investments that we need to make to ensure that we have the right type of capacity across these areas. And the next round of investments will do an analysis of the maturity of those levels in Ireland. So, look at whether the research capacity across, people, infrastructures, and our international networks, and look at whether is it ad hoc, is the research based on individual research interests and with no support or facilities institutionally. Are there communities of interest that already exist? Or is there dedicated research facilities that already exist, but there's no evidence of collaboration nationally and internationally? Or do we have national research facilities in that particular research theme, but maybe there's no evidence of that translating into industry? So we're analysing all those areas at the moment, or we have actually analysed all those areas at the moment and categorised them according to their maturity level, so that we know now, okay, well, if we want to progress, because how do you prioritise between those areas? So what we do know is where we're at in terms of the maturity and what type of investments the state would need to make to ensure we get up to the next level. So just examples of collaboration. So in the past, Science Foundation Ireland and the National Science Foundation here in the United States have set up joint funding calls where researchers in the United States and researchers in Ireland and Northern Ireland could jointly develop proposals, and that they would be reviewed by either one body or the other. So it helped to facilitate researchers in Ireland and researchers in the US to come together. So this is an example of thematic areas that were prioritised as important research grant challenges for the health and prosperity of the citizens of the United States, Ireland and Northern Ireland in one particular funding call. And that was specifically, or there was one that was particularly supported from the National Institute of Health here. So those funding mechanisms, I think this particular call is closed now, if I'm right, maybe not, but there are mechanisms for European and US researchers to collaborate and to support that. Another is the Atlantic Ocean Research Alliance, which is, so there's a collaboration between the EU, Canada and the United States was launched around a number of priority areas and to establish a formal research alliance on the sustainable protection and development of the Atlantic Ocean. So looking at the better understanding of the Atlantic Ocean and how to protect the Atlantic Ocean and to try and join up research programs around that. And there's certain strides now at the moment to develop research mobility grants, which will allow the exchange of researchers between the EU and the United States and Canada around understanding and protecting the Atlantic Ocean. So there are those opportunities out there in order to collaborate with other international researchers. That's all I have to say. So thanks for your attention, and if you have any questions, let me know. I know that's a very much a whistle-stop tour, but if you have any questions, let me know.
They can do that right now.
Yeah.
So Ireland is about the state of India. It's about the size of the state of Indiana. And it's about the population of San Diego and Riverside combined. So we look at Ireland as a great example of unified plan, but we also recognize, I bring this up because we also recognize that the square footage that they're talking about and the number of people would only represent a fraction of the Americans' plan to try to somehow bring all our disparate parts together. However, it's key because it's surrounded so much by water, so it has to come up with a viable plan, as does probably Hawaii and Alaska and quite frankly, California. San Diego has 70 miles of coastal land. So this is really appreciated because it is the kind of a model. You know, they're still struggling, but it's still a model beyond anything we have. And it's more integrated and it's more solidified by a group thing, you know, in terms of coming together with a lot of smart people. So we're very grateful for this conversation. I'm actually wanting to go to Ireland to do some best practices.
Well, you're all welcome to Ireland. We have our annual Seafest event, or our Ocean Wealth event. So it's in Galway next year, the end of June, early July. And we do a lot of outreach programs around that particular weekend. So I invite you all to Galway next year at the end of June or early July.
So Dr. O'Connor, maybe you can be part of our discussion, because now the discussion is how to foster a greater sense of ocean conservation in today's youth. How to foster it, and how to turn ocean conservation into tomorrow's careers. And I'm sure you've already been talking about that, because there is nothing that we talk about when we talk about blue economy and BlueTech, where we're not talking really about conservation and sustainability. But let's really focus, and maybe we can use some of their adapted plans to thinking about how we want to progress. So once again, it's a time. But if you have questions, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, in the previous panel, we were discussing about how some youth from this advantaged communities living 2 miles from the coast in California have never seen the beach. Do you have similar disadvantaged communities where surrounded by water they still don't connect what
Yeah.
they do to water?
So we're quite small, so there's probably only one county in our, what is it? You could have this key in. Yeah, 1 or 2 counties in Ireland that don't have these coastline. So, but we have a real problem with, I guess, young people that don't understand the value of the sea or don't understand anything about the sea. So the sea is out there. It's something that we know is out there, but that's all that we know about it, because traditionally Ireland would have very much looked to agriculture, and looked to the land for food and energy and and resources, and we really ignored the ocean that was sitting on our doorstep. So we have programs now to try and encourage people's engagement with the sea. So for example, we have the Explorers program. So the Explorers program, it tries to bring ocean literacy into the primary schools, so students from 4 years of age up until 12 years of age, and then other programs into secondary school, or what you probably call high school here. So we're trying to increase the awareness through making sure our teachers are have materials, so like lesson plans and outreach plans, and that can enable students to learn from an early age about the sea and all the opportunities of the sea as well, so of the ocean, so that there are careers in the ocean, and and careers that you might not never think of. So for example, if you have a student that wants to be an engineer, well, you can still be an engineer, but how about working renewable energy or understanding what the next big wave energy device is going to look like, things like that. And then we have other programs that try and allow students to have access to some of the really good data sets that are there. So like the seabed data, and we have programs like hackathons then, where students can come in and develop mobile phone apps and can, that they can identify with. So I think, so programs like that where there's a kind of that provide really engagement for students can help.
Just a follow-up question to that. So also in the previous session, we mentioned the missing piece to these outreach and education is the employment piece. And when we talk about employment, most of the time as professionals, we think of post-college, postgraduate. But for youth in today's economy, many of them want to or need to get summer jobs as young as 14 years of age. And so between the years of 14 through maybe 24, someone mentioned earlier, many of them drop out of the system for one reason or another. And during the break, as we were discussing, some of those factors that cause them to drop out, maybe gang recruitment, maybe teenage pregnancy, maybe economic factors. So perhaps trying to keep them in the pipeline as young as 14 or maybe even younger. Are there similar programs like summer jobs, apprenticeships, internships for young students?
So the majority of our students as well would be looking at taking summer jobs and but in terms of formal programs around that, Cian, again, you could help me. It's greater.
I wouldn't say there's a formalized program.
No, I mean we have bursar programs where for example, students can apply to come into somewhere like the Marine Institute and spend some time. And we would hope that the time that they would spend in the institute with us would, create an appetite for a career in the Marine. But apart from that, there isn't really any formalised programs around that. But there would be a lot of outreach activities in communities, for example, around sports or around other types of areas. But in specific to marine-related activities, possibly not.
So perhaps that's an opportunity for
Exactly.
you to create something, because on a more practical level, during the summer, those youth from disadvantaged backgrounds, they are out there, they don't have the school system, they're vulnerable, they're unsupervised, and they're at a very vulnerable age that they could drop out of the pipeline altogether.
Exactly, yeah.
I have a question. But sometimes I find that outreach in the circles that I work in and play in is more opportunistic than fully funded. But I mean, what these days is fully funded? I suppose we all could have a little break session about funding, right? What is, and you may have said this in your talk, and forgive me if I wasn't gathering that information you're saying, but how much do you guys, I guess, set aside for outreach, or is it more opportunistic for you as well? Like, as far as percentages, like if one year you get $5, what is the percentage of that $5 you think you would spend?
And to be honest, unfortunately, I don't have the stats on that.
Right.
But we do have a part of the Marine Institute that's dedicated to those education programs.
Okay.
And then for any of the centres that I mentioned across the areas, they have particular number of what we call KPIs, key performance indicators, and they have to have an outreach officer now and an education officer. So for example, if the state invests 20 million in a particular centre of excellence, whether it be in marine, ICT, there's a percentage of that that's totally dedicated to outreach activities. So that might be, for example, making sure that they visit so many schools, that they have events where they can have students come in and participate in those events. They can run these hackathons. And the Marine Institute has part of its program is developing lesson plans, and but it's only a small part.
Right.
And it's certainly something that we're trying to improve on, and it's possibly something that has been ignored for a long time. But there, as part of our Ocean Wealth, there's a whole segment of that that's just focused on ocean literacy. So at all ages and all across the spectrum, so making sure that it's right from young scientists right up to adults that have an increased engagement with the sea. So even initiatives around maritime heritage, we'd also try to partner in a lot of European Union projects around ocean literacy as well. But it's certainly something that can be improved on.
Yeah, for all of us, right?
Yeah. So.
All right, so do you want to get together for a little bit longer and discuss the issues that were in your program, those questions? This is your opportunity to bring it home. And then the last part of our time together will be a panel discussion. So this is your last time to actually get together with your fellow educators and really take home some pithy ideas that you might be able to incorporate in your schools, in your communities, and mostly in your classrooms, if you can. So.
Can I just have a follow-up question?
Yeah.
Since budget is she mentioned budget, how about remote access? Could there be Skype or some sort of video conferencing where students in Ireland and students in the United States or US schools can communicate with each other without having to travel, maybe work jointly on projects through some sort of online collaborative tool?
I think that's a really excellent idea, and we have a program called Smart Sea Schools, which gives students access to our research vessels, and they go out on different training programs. And there's been programs before where we've tried to Skype into other classrooms, and it's something actually we were trying to establish with the Ocean Learning Partnership in Newfoundland. So I think that certainly could be a really good follow-up, and I know it's something certainly that students in Ireland would be really excited about, to even link into classrooms here in the US.
There were a number of teachers here in the previous session. They had to leave for logistic reasons, but they were very interested in finding low-cost, not very burdensome ways to give their students windows into worlds that no one would have access to.
Yeah.
So perhaps that's something we could.
Yes, certainly. Delighted to follow up on that, and for our students, they would give them access into, it's a different resource here in San Diego, different ecosystems, and similarly on the Atlantic. So, even doing that for different parts of the US would be great.